Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Putty and welcome back for another edition of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. You have joined me in May for the 2020 edition of Old School Rules. Tonight in our main event of the evening, a Texas death match as Island Boy Apollo gets his second rematch for the Mid-Atlantic Championship against Scythe. And in our semi-main event of the evening, American Elemental and Shinikami do battle again. 2 out of 3 falls once more, but this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is mask versus mask. So that means there will be no more underhanded tactics, no more trying to rip the other person's mask off, because they don't need to. They don't need to rip the mask off, because as long as they win, the mask will come off on its own. It'll be respected at the end of the night. Also tonight, the final match ever in MAW for Yoshimi Mushishibo. His final match as he takes on the man formerly known as the Architect, Dewey Archer. Huge match there as we say goodbye to a legend of the business, one of the forefathers of technical wrestling, and an absolutely legendary man that I am pleasured to have worked with over the last couple of months. We also have the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Tag Team Championships on the line as Team Progress are going to get a shot. They've been pretty impressive lately in tag team action against the Ring Generals. Much more to come. Sorry about that. In the Charlotte Garden tonight. Let's go. We open these off as Squeaky McLean takes on Hugh Ankry in a 53C-, about to have good heat and decent wrestling. Squeaky McLean defeats Hugh Ankry by pinfall with a stain removal. Usual technical wrestling stuff from both these guys. Squeaky with that fast-paced kind of technical stuff. Maybe he pulls off that gimmick that he likes to do where he likes to try not to get touched by his opponent. Maybe just bridges away from stuff and the usual storytelling stuff we get from Squeaky McLean, who is just an asshole. And Hugh Ankry with that flashy, charismatic King of Canada attitude that we see from him on occasion as he tries to put in a spirited performance, but eventually gets defeated by the man, Squeaky McLean. I just remembered that I promised you guys a rant at the start of the episode today, and I do want to give you that rant today, so I'm going to give it to you at the end of the episode, as long as the episode isn't too long. If we finish off the show and it's like 15 minutes, then I'll rant for you guys. Alright. We move on as George Wolf defeats Kid San Juan with a spear in 10 minutes with a 50 D+. Good stuff here as the one half of the World Tag Team Champions comes here to MAW and takes on one of our local lads, George Wolf. Big brawling style from George Wolf as he tries to wear down the high flyer from Puerto Rico, but in the end, Kid San Juan, despite his spirited, his passion, and his fire that he brings, of course, last year he was told that he may never wrestle again. 2 months later, he won the World Tag Team Championships. He is a fighter, he is a passionate kid, and he will not be kept down for very long. But in the end, he is worn down by George Wolf, who picks up the victory with a spear. Impressive stuff from George Wolf. He's moving up in the rankings. In fact, there are rumblings that he may be getting a World Heavyweight Championship shot in the coming months. And Team Progress defeat the Ring Generals in about 10 minutes when Papa Dan defeated Marv Stadler by pinfall with a Ghoul Bulldog. This match, we have the Ring Generals trying to work down Papa Dan, trying to keep him in the corner, trying to isolate him, trying to use their tag team prowess. They've been wrestling a lot longer than Team Progress have. But in the end, Papa Dan with almost a babyface-like jump across the ring to get in the hot tag of Robin DeLay, who comes in and clears house. Big lariats, big shoulder blocks, big military presses, big drop kicks, nasty physical prowess of Robin DeLay, the son of Dan DeLay, who manages to pick up the momentum and switch it back into Team Progress's hands. They grab the bull by its horns and dominate the match for the remainder, and in the end, Big Ghoul Bulldog and Team Progress have picked up the win. Team Progress, Robin DeLay and Papa Dan are your Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions. Huge victory. First tag team gold for both guys. Good stuff. We're moving on to the final match. The Last Samurai, Yoshimi Mushishibo's final ever match in the territories. The end of his US retirement tour. And he picks up a victory to finish it off in a decent technical showcase from both these guys. They can't do too much because Yoshi's quite old now, but they try to put on a few nostalgic technical wrestling spots. They try to paint Yoshi as a bit of an asshole babyface. Of course, Yoshi, he loves playing the asshole. He has to play the asshole, but he's a babyface in this match. Dewey Archer giving him some due respect for sure, and the two guys trade some really nice technical moves. And in the end, Yoshimi Mushishibo does indeed pick up the victory with the Yoshimi lock, and Dewey Archer shows his respect. The two shake hands in the middle of the ring. Dewey Archer definitely, in kayfabe, brought it. Absolutely took it to the technical legend. Absolutely put on an admirable performance. Showed the legend that he is one of the best technical wrestlers in wrestling today. But he couldn't quite outwit the greatest technical wrestler of all time. And in the end, he gets put down with a Yoshimi lock. Good stuff from these guys as we move into our first of our two main events of the evening. It is Mask versus Mask. It is American Elemental taking on Shinny Kami. These two have been rivaling for about a year and a half now. They have been going back and forth these innovative, high-risk matches where they just put their bodies on the line. And last time out, Shinny Kami picked up the victory, but he only seemed to have done so because he was distracting American Elemental by trying to remove his mask. Tonight, there will be no distractions because the one who will remove their mask is the loser. And indeed, in a 68C+, American Elemental defeats Shinny Kami in 22 minutes by 2 straight falls. Final fall happening with the American Earth Breaker. Exactly the same as the last 2 matches. American Elemental picks up the first fall within a couple of minutes. Fast-paced stuff. These two putting it all on the line. High-risk stuff. And Shinny Kami getting caught early. But this time, it's very different. The 15-minute high-spot fest, the innovation, the absolute balls-to-the-walls action that we got last time does indeed happen, with Shinny Kami going that extra mile, going that vicious extra mile, but this time the risk did not pay off. Some people call it killer instinct, some people call it taking a risk too far, and tonight it seems to have edged to the latter, because Shinny Kami, he did take that risk a little too far, it seems, and American Elemental is able to seize on the opportunity and show his technical and high-flying prowess with some excellently executed maneuvers, a great babyface comeback sequence, and in the end he picks up the victory with that American Earthbreaker, finishing off this feud seemingly forever, because after the match, Shinny Kami looks at American Elemental. The ref is about to take Shinny Kami's mask off, and he pushes the ref back and he says, no. And you get the impression that he's going to take it off himself, and he nods and he respects the stipulation of the match. He takes off the mask, and underneath the mask is Kamikaze. That's right, the man who lost a loser leaves town match against American Elemental a few years ago. He returned as Shinny Kami, and obviously Bossman Brayfield comes out with police and is like, "You lost a loser leaves town match, get the fuck out of here." And Shinny Kami, I guess Kamikaze, is escorted from the building. Holy shit, all this time Shinny Kami was Kamikaze. No way, right? That's, my lord, no, that's just silly. No. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our main event of the evening. Island Boy Apollo's second rematch. Last time he was not prepared. Last time he was not ready. But he thinks he's found it this time. He's going to be brutal. He's going to be vicious. He's going to channel the hatred and the passion that he had to gain. The absolute despair that he had last summer, when he was told that his best friend may never wrestle again, when he had to sit in the hospital all night, thinking that his last match was as brutal and as vicious as the one that he had. But no, they fought back because of that passion, because of that heart, because of that fire. And that's what he represents. That's what one half of the tag team champions, Island Boy Apollo, the world tag team champions, Island Boy Apollo represents. He represents fire. He represents passion. And more than anything else, he loves overcoming obstacles and he loves proving people wrong, and he's still got that chip on his shoulder because people keep telling him that Scythe is invincible. Last month even, it was hammered home by Vinny Cruz that Scythe is invincible. And Island Boy Apollo lives to slay giants, to climb monsters, to climb mountains. I almost said it again. Climb mountains, slay monsters, overcome odds, and prove people wrong. He's still got that chip on his shoulder that he hasn't yet been able to get a victory over Scythe. And he's going to come into this match with the brutal, the viciousness that is necessary to slay a monster. But Scythe is a monster. He's a demon. He has been unbeatable since he has arrived here in MAW. Only 2 people have gotten victories over him. George Wolf in a straight-up singles match. Congratulations for him. It is probably the biggest victory of his career. But he got beat a couple months later. And Ernest Youngman, who picked up a disqualification victory. Only 2 times Scythe has lost in this company. He's a monster. He is invincible. And if Vinny Cruz is to be believed, he hasn't even shown his full strength yet. So tonight in our main event of the evening, in a Texas death match, that brutality does manifest. It does get brutal. It does get nasty. These 2 go back and forth. There is blood early. From both guys, they don the crimson mask, and I'm not talking about that red mask that Scythe wears. I'm talking about a stream of blood from both men's faces as we get the Memphis style. Brutal strikes. Brutal punches. Because I don't know. I think Scythe is pretty ambivalent about Island Boy Apollo, but Scythe likes to inflict pain generally. You know, Scythe isn't the type of guy who's like, oh, I hate Island Boy Apollo. But Scythe kind of acts. The way Scythe acts in every match is kind of the way you'd expect somebody to act in a blood feud. Every single match for Scythe is a blood feud because he wants the pain and he wants the suffering that usually only a feud ender can bring. So he goes in there and he just brutally strikes Island Boy Apollo, trying to bust him open, trying to inflict that pain, trying to rip inside his skull and bring out the absolute suffering and pain that Scythe enjoys and feeds on. Some people feed on the atmosphere of the crowd. Scythe feeds on suffering. And that's what he does in this match, because this match isn't designed to be a wrestling match. It's designed to be a fight. It's a Texas death match. It's designed to be brutal. It's designed to be a match where you are supposed to hurt your opponents, destroy your opponent's will and body to the point where they cannot kick out of a pinfall maneuver. And they also cannot make a 10 count. It is a brutal match. And Scythe is willing to go to those deep, dark places. And he just rips into Island Boy Apollo. Meanwhile, Island Boy Apollo, he's got that fire and he's got that heart. And he promised that he would channel passion and fire in this match. And that's exactly what he does. He takes those brutal strikes. He takes, he sees the blood pouring down his face, and he knows he's got to give just as much as he can get, and he throws those right hooks, and he throws those left hooks, because he is that good. He is great at the brawling, and that is exactly what he throws. He throws everything in his arsenal at Scythe, because he knows that he can't give an inch in this match, because if he gets behind, he's going to get dominated, he's going to get brutalized, just like El Mitico Jr. did last time. He's going to get his face crunched into the mat, he's going to get his windpipe crushed. But no, he fights back. He brings himself up, and he makes sure that every hit he takes, he gives another one back, and Scythe is bleeding. And there is, very early on, like within 5 minutes, the canvas is painted in blood. And of course, they're not staying in the ring. They go immediately out of the ring. The blood is pouring onto the ring mats, onto the guardrail, because these 2 are getting weapons, because of course they are. For Scythe, weapons are just another tool to inflict pain. And for Island Boy Apollo, they're an equalizer. There is opportunity to maybe equal out the size difference, and more importantly, the brutality difference of these 2 men. And so Island Boy gets that kendo stick and tries to just hack down the monster, trying to hack down his legs and try and get him onto his level, just trying to brutalize the monster Scythe to the point where it could be an even fight. And meanwhile, Scythe's got a steel chair, and he knows he can bust Island Boy's forehead open even further by just cracking that steel chair on him. And indeed, that's what happens. And of course, no disqualifications. Vinny Cruz gets a chair as well, and the 2 men just start beating down on Island Boy Apollo, beating him down. But Island Boy Apollo, he doesn't stay down. He's got that equalizer, he's got that kendo stick, and he chops out, he chops away, he gets that opening, and he literally just cracks Vinny Cruz on the head with the kendo stick to, like, a muted crowd reaction. The crowd are like, whoa, you just hit a non-wrestler. I know he's an asshole that hit you first. But that's a little iffy there, Island Boy. But down is Vinny Cruz. Gone. He's removed from the matchup, and now he's one-on-one. It is man versus monster. It is the Island Boy, the Island Man Apollo, versus Scythe. And these 2, they look at each other. There is blood on their face, weapons in their hands, and they go to war. They go to war with those weapons. They go to war with their fists. They go to war with their feet. And every second of the way, they're just trying. They're trying to get those pinfall maneuvers. Scythe is going for that choke slam for that 2 count. Scythe tries the underworld spike, gets a 3 count, but Island Boy rips himself to his feet at 8. Won't stay down. Island Boy Apollo hits an island driver, and Scythe is down for 9, but he gets up. Island Boy hits a second island driver, Scythe down for 9, and he gets up, and then Island Boy locks in a guillotine choke. Middle of the ring. Nowhere to go. Scythe taps out to the guillotine choke, knowing that it doesn't fucking matter, right? But he taps out, he's like, yeah, because it's a bit of a ploy. It's like, well, if I tap out, maybe he'll release the hold. But no, he doesn't. Island Boy sits in that hold for 3 minutes. He sits in that guillotine choke, ripping, clawing at the neck of Scythe. Until finally the hand of Scythe goes limp. Finally, Scythe seems to have been choked the fuck out. And Island Boy releases the guillotine choke, and he picks up the almost lifeless, heavy as fuck body of Scythe, and he hits him with that Island Driver. 1, 2, 3, and the monster seems to finally be put down. As the ref gets to a 10 count, as both men lay lifeless in the middle of the ring, but of course Island Boy was never pinned, so it doesn't matter that he's down. Scythe was. Island Boy Apollo is declared the winner of Texas Deathmatch 2020 and a 3-time Mid-Atlantic champion, but he's not moving. And indeed, as the belt is placed on the shoulder of Island Boy Apollo is lying almost lifeless in the middle of the ring next to the monster. A couple minutes pass, and Scythe rolls out of the ring, and Vinny Cruz is conscious, and the two of them walk out together. But as the show fades to black, Island Boy Apollo is still lying there, brutalized, battered, in the middle of the ring. It should be a moment to behold. It should be a party for Island Boy Apollo. You know, most of his victories are, but I don't know if he won this match. He survived it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Check out the rest of the series. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're feeling especially generous and particularly enjoyed the episode, go ahead and check out the link to my Patreon is in the description if you want to hear me talk about the series or generally ramble. Link to my Twitter is in the description. This episode ended up going over 15 minutes, so I will save my ramble about something for next. It's not exciting. It's literally just about why I'm not going regional yet. Because we are... Anyway, look, I'll talk about it in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time for... Fan Festival, and I can confirm some matches on that show. Island Boy Apollo, if he is medically cleared, will be defending his championship. It will not be against Scythe, but he will be defending his championship. And in the main event of the evening, George Wolf will be facing the World Heavyweight Champion for the World Championship, a year on from the John Greed match. George has been injured. He started a stable. He has begun to teach and impart knowledge, and that stable has won the tag team championships tonight. But has George learnt enough from last year to become the champion? Right now, it's going to be George versus Ernest Youngman, and I can't wait if that's the match, but who knows what could happen between now and then. So I don't know who it's going to be, but I can tell you that in the main event of Fan Festival is going to be George Wolf taking on the world's heavyweight champion. Please join me then. If you do, I will be honoured, and I will see you guys then.